to thank every fan out there that throughout my 18 years and the minor league years took the time to appreciate what we do, respect it, embrace it, go through the bad moments and good moments with us. The voters that today made me someone really, really, really special. It's something that I never expected while I was playing the game. I took each day personally and enjoyed it, but I never expected to be here today. If I say I dreamt about it, that's a lie. I never did, but I made sure that every day I lived like it was a dream because I was so proud to play ball every day. To all the voters, the class going in with me, thank you. All the teammates that I play with, I want to say thank you. But mostly, my family, Dominican Republic, America for opening the doors for so many of us and giving us a chance to become who we are, who we become while we're here. For all the fans out there that actually open their arms to embrace every one of us coming from a third world country and treating us so well, giving us so many opportunities. Thank you so much. The Baseball Hall of Fame, thank you for making the second Dominican welcome into the hall. Thank you for everything you guys have supplied for all of us, especially opportunity. Thank you all. God bless you. And let's start with this. Let's go fun with Pedro now.
All right, thank you. If you have a question for Pedro, please raise your hand. We have microphones on either side as well as in the main aisle. Please state your name and media affiliation before your question. Starting with there in the back.
Hey, Pedro, Bob Halloran from Channel 5. How much sleep did you get last night?
You know, believe it or not, I had a hard time going to sleep until it was morning. Once the morning approached, for some reason, I fell asleep easier. You know, I wasn't really excited, but for some reason, I didn't want to go to bed. I guess it was just like my games. I wanted to get it over with as soon as possible, and I wanted to get out there. I couldn't wait to get out there, but now I feel relief. I feel at peace, and I feel like I'm glad it's over with. I'm glad it's over with, and very humble and honored to actually share with you guys.
Okay, Steve on your left.
Steve Buckley, Boston Herald. Congratulations.
Hi, Steve. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for voting me in.
You made a comment on MLB Network a few hours ago, saying I did it clean, and you did that without being asked. Is that something you planned on saying, and what inspired you to say that? And can you expand on that a bit?
Well, when I said I did it clean, I wanted to mention that because I was called different names. I was criticized sometimes. If I tell you it was unfair, probably not. But if I could just express to you that missing the 2 outings, or 3 maybe, a year that I did was the best I could do, because I didn't run the short fence to get to good health. I went the long ways, the ways I had to go, the way that the integrity my mom and dad taught me to have led me to. And when I said I keep it clean, I did it clean. I did it the only way I knew. I didn't believe in anybody's choice to go out there, and I wanted to do it clean. And I had an opportunity, more than one. I had an everyday opportunity to probably take the short path to a more successful year and escape the criticism from the media and being singled out as someone that's going to miss at least 2 or 3 outings a year. Yes, I chose to miss those 3 outings and not miss the respect that you guys are showing today for me and the appreciation that you have for me today.
Okay.
So that's what I meant when I said I keep it clean.
Enrique.
Enrique Rojas, ESPNdeportes.com. Pedro, la oportunidad en este gran escenario de dirigirte a los latinos de Nueva Inglaterra, a los dominicanos de República Dominicana, a los de Jamaica Plain, a los de todo el mundo. Este gran momento que tú estás viviendo.
Bueno, para mí es un honor poder expresarle a toda Latinoamérica, a la República Dominicana, a todos los fanáticos del mundo, los americanos que hablan un poquito español, cómo estoy agradecido de poder participar y poder ser miembro de este gran Salón de la Fama en Cooperstown. Y se lo quiero dedicar a todos ellos, los fanáticos, dominicanos, latinos, del mundo, americanos principalmente, porque fueron los que nos brindaron la oportunidad de venir aquí y poder hacerlo hoy. Para mí un honor poder representarlos. Quiero que lo disfruten, quiero que lo disfruten con fe. Yo sé que ya la República Dominicana está prendida por medio lado, pero ojalá y no tengamos ninguna causa negativa, que todo sea felicidad, que todo sea tranquilidad, que no hayan heridos, que no haya nada, que lo hagamos en paz y que disfrutemos algo que verdaderamente nos ganamos con honestidad, que lo disfrutemos todos los latinos de todas partes del mundo, que se sientan parte de esto, porque nos tomó mucho tiempo, pero ya está aquí, es de nosotros. Así que muchas gracias por el apoyo y que sigan haciéndolo.
Nielsen.
Nilson Pepén, WRCA 1330. Pedro, el sentir tuyo de acompañar a don Juan Marichal en Cooperstown. Y la segunda, ¿cómo tú quieres que los latinos, los dominicanos de aquí y de la República Dominicana te acompañen el 26 de julio en Cooperstown?
Bueno, para mí un honor ser el próximo que le va a estar dando calor finalmente a don Juan Marichal en Cooperstown después de 34 años, 32 años en Cooperstown pasando frío solo. Para mí es un honor poder ser el abrigo que le va a brindar un brazo y lo va a calentar. Espero que a mí no me pase tanto tiempo en que otro latino venga y me abrace también en Cooperstown. Pero para mí es un gran honor poder ser parte de eso, poder entrar con la clase que va entrando en esta primera vuelta, Greg Biggio, que no es su primera vuelta, pero que sí, John Smoltz y Randy Johnson, que van conmigo. Muchas felicitaciones. Me siento honrado de entrar con ellos. Me siento honrado de poder ser parte de esta clase que va entrando. Y espero que todos los latinos del mundo y los dominicanos reciban con amor este gran galardón y se lo dedico a todos ellos, a todos los que con fe se han mantenido creyendo en nosotros.
Okay. Nick on the left.
Pedro, Nick Cafardo, Boston Globe. How are
Thank you.
Those early years in Los Angeles, when I guess they told you you couldn't hold up, you were too small, did that stuff stay with you the rest of your career, those words that motivate you?
I think those were the matches that light up everything that I did out there every day. The negativity that I faced made me stronger, made me focus even better. For some reason, I was loose. I was a loose goose when I wasn't pitching. But then when it came to the field 30 minutes, an hour before the game, everything would change. All those thoughts about me failing or not being able to do it triggered something. I don't know what, but they triggered something. And some of the umpires, I remember Joe West, every time I went to take them out, Pedro, we know you have a chip on your shoulder, so just keep it clean, Pedro. Have a nice game. I said, Joe, just tell him to keep it clean because I'm sorry, but it's not me. It wasn't me, really. It was just that I had so many things in mind and very, very picky with my teammates. Very picky with my teammates. And they thought I was actually looking for something to do. No. That was the way I could focus. That was the way I could go out there like there was no tomorrow. And I appreciated every game like there was no tomorrow. I went about it like there was no tomorrow. And a lot of those negative things and those adversities that I had to face were the reasons why I carried myself during the game like I had a chip on my shoulder or like someone was out there to kidnap my mom. And, that's probably what triggered it.
Okay, Sean, right in the middle.
Sean McAdam, Comcast Sportsnet. Congratulations.
Thank you for
Pedro.
voting me in, you old goat.
Okay. You talked about the pride that you take in being clean throughout your career, yet you dominated in an era where a lot of people either were proven or suspected of PED use. The fact that you were able to be as good as you were at a time when scoring was up, home runs were up, there was significant PED use. How much pride do you take in being as good as you were at a time when the numbers were off the charts and guys were going to extremes to get an advantage in terms of strength and power?
Today, you're actually part of the living proof of what it takes to do it that way. First ballot Hall of Fame, you guys, thank you. Thank you for appreciating how I did it. The fact that you guys believed on the way I did it is the main reason, the main living proof that you want. Doing it this way probably led me to going into the Hall of Fame as a first ballot. If I didn't do it that way, I would have probably go in eventually. But the fact that I did it in that era, in a different era, or probably the most different era that baseball has ever faced, where the challenges were at max, made you appreciate what I did. Randy, he spent 20 years, did so much. John Smoltz, you put Randy and I together, and we have the same stuff as probably John Smoltz. Biggio, 3,000 hits, all kinds of records, made switches from position to position. Super players. I wasn't supposed to be, but because of the fact that I did it the way I did it, and the integrity that I carried while doing it, it's probably what led to me going into the Hall of Fame in the first ballot. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that I had to face probably the toughest matchup out there. And guess what? I didn't want it any other way. And I'm repeating this because I think I told you that before. I wouldn't want it any other way. I wanted to beat the best. I wanted to be the best I could be every time I went out there. I wanted to embarrass the best team out there. I wanted to. I meant to. Sometimes they embarrassed me, but when I got a hold of them, I did embarrass them. Anytime I had an opportunity to embarrass any team in the big leagues, including the ones using PEDs, it was a great honor to do it. Same way, every homer I surrendered, every game I lost, I'm proud of. And I'm proud that I did it in an era where the challenge was at the top.
Okay, Tranny, right in the middle too.
Pedro, Tranny Kuznarek from Comcast Sportsnet. You've talked a lot about integrity. When you look back on your baseball career as a whole, not just in the majors, but your entire baseball career, is there an experience or a person that stands out to you which led you to become the pitcher and the player that you were?
Well, first, I had a real good role model in my brother Ramon. My brother Ramon was a real good role model to follow. I had, beliefs, as far as God, that helped me stay pretty much in track. But my mom and dad deserve all the credit. My mom and dad had to do so much to raise all 6 kids that we were, with less than $20 a month at that time. They got to raise 6 kids. Never been in jail, never done anything wrong. So why, if I had a better chance, a better and legit chance to become better, would I do it any other way? My mom and dad were the best example that we could ever have when it came to integrity. Respect your job, honor your job, because it's given to you by God, not by me or by men. So neither surrender it to anybody, because it wasn't given to you by men. So you're going to charge the mound? You're going to fight me? You think I'm going to go away from the mound? No. You didn't give me my job. My job came from someone else. So I'm not giving it away. And that's integrity. And that's staying there. And that's fearless. And that's, I'm here to stay. And that's what today has me here. My mom and dad were the biggest reason. Big faith.
Okay, Pete, on your left.
Hey, Pedro. Peter Abraham from the Globe. Congratulations. You spoke before about being a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's only 50 of those now with the 3 today. What does that mean to you to be part of an even more exclusive group than all of the players in the Hall of Fame, the first ballot Hall of Famers?
Thank you for the info. I didn't know that. But it's humbling and a great honor to become part of history. I know that the Hall of Fame, it's got to be so proud right now to have the class that's going in, just like I am. To be honest, I can't wait to be near the other 3 guys that are going in with me. I am absolutely honored to have become part of history, part of the Hall of Fame in this special way. All the teams, I can think of all the things, all those good players that I played with. You know, Captain Caveman comes really into all the people that come in, the coaches, so many good players that I play for. I want to thank everybody. So many players that I played against that got the best out of me. I hated facing Edgar because he would fall off 13 pitches. Then Jeter would bloop one. And I hated it, but my God, it was good to do it. And to become part of history now in the Hall of Fame is humbling. It's a great honor. Honor that I'm expressing from my heart, like I always did in my answers to you guys.
Okay, over here on your right.
Aquí, Michelle Over Figueroa, CNN en español. Y quisiera saber, porque hay muchas personas en la República Dominicana que quizá tienen que tener trabajo de mecánico, de mesero, pero sueñan todos los días con el béisbol. Entonces, ¿qué sugerencia le darías a esa persona para seguir sus sueños? Quizás lo ven como algo imposible, pero ¿cómo para ti se hizo de imposible a posible? ¿Qué pasos tomaste?
Bueno, yo tenía lo que nos dejó por herencia, una familia honrada, una familia dedicada. Por herencia yo tuve mucha fe, mucha dedicación, mucho respeto. Y cada vez que ellos se sientan que necesitan un motivo para buscar fuerzas, una muestra de fe. Yo soy una muestra de fe, de trabajo, de dedicación, que lo tomen cuando quieran. Que me vean a mí como una muestra de fe y un ejemplo a seguir, que vean que sí podemos. No tiene que ser pelotero, no tiene que ser futbolista, no tiene que ser nada en deportes, pero en todo lo que sea que ellos se propongan, pueden ver en mí que con fe, trabajo, dedicación y respeto se puede llegar, y mucha educación.
¿Qué palabras para tu madre?
Para mi madre, yo tendría que bajarle a Dios de arriba y dárselo en las manos y decirle, mira, ese es tu guardaespaldas, para que mi mamá entienda lo mucho que significa para mí, que todo esto queda pequeño ante lo que yo le pueda expresar a mi mamá. El Salón de la Fama, la placa, la atención, todo lo que yo he dicho queda corto ante lo que yo le deseo a mi mamá y a mi familia. Gracias.
Okay, right here on your right, there's Scott.
Scott Lauber, Boston Herald.
Hi, Scott.
Pedro, you touched on Ramon and following him. When you were a young pitcher, a teenager coming up with the Dodgers, how much was wanting to follow Ramon, just kind of what your goal, what you wanted to do? You know, the Hall of Fame was way far in the distance at that time. How much was it just about following him to the big leagues?
Well, Ramon was my hero. I used to just carry Ramon's bag to the different fields where he played before he was a pro. I just wanted to see my brother play. My brother was a super player. Could hit with power, believe it or not. He left-handed, and Ramon was a good athlete. Played a little bit of basketball. I don't know if you knew that, but Ramon played a little bit of basketball. I was the one that never touched a ball of any other sports but baseball. And Ramon was a good hero to have, and not only that, I got to see a lot of them on TV. And Ramon, after he became a pro, would bring me the packages of baseball cards, and I got to see a lot of those players. And because back then in the '80s, the games weren't transmitted like on a day-to-day basis. It's just on Saturdays we got to see some of the games, mostly St. Louis, the Yankees, some of the Kansas City Royals in '85 and all that. I got to see some of those players. I remember Mario Soto, Damaso Garcia, Pedro Guerrero with the Dodgers. The Dodgers were the team in the Dominican because they had the first academy. Now what happens? Ramon goes to the Dodgers. My favorite team, Otto Hershiser, Mike Stozia, all those guys that they had in the team. And I became a fan as well. Also a big fan of Reggie Jackson, who was the only one that was able to pimp homers at that time. And, Roger Clemens, the big phenom that came over in '86 and blossomed into the World Series. I was a big fan. I was a big fan of everyone in baseball, but definitely you want to be like Ramon, even though I didn't show anything like Ramon.
Okay, Michael, also on the right.
Hi, Michael Silverman.
My amigo, Silverman.
Hello. I noticed you have the Dominican flag up here. Maybe you addressed this earlier in Spanish, but can you talk a bit about your roots and how important your Dominican roots are, and what do you think right now is going on in the streets of Managuayabo, all across the country?
Well, right now, the pictures we have from Dominican, I hope someone has the time to record it, because there's two things that I have never been able to experience. Is how was it when I pitched a game in the Dominican? Unless someone has a documentary, I asked so many people that are in the Dominican to please record what's going on in the streets. Because every time I pitched, when I was here in Fenway Park, it was an event in the Dominican. It was curfew day. That's what they call it. Curfew day in the Dominican. Pedro's pitching. And my roots, because I've always been able to recognize where I come from. People identify themselves with me. They relate themselves to me because of, I guess, never forgotten that I lived in a shack, that I came over from a poor community, from poor family, and I remain there. A lot of people that actually get the same feel and know that I feel for those people relate to me. So that's why probably the Dominican Republic right now is full of old refrigerators hanging on cars, like a newlywed couple that was loved by everybody in the country. And that's how Dominican is. Everybody is one single celebration right now. But I would love to experience that. I would love to see what it's like. And guess where I am? I'm in Boston, and I'm not going to get to see it unless someone records it. And I would love to. I would love to see how it's like, but I imagine only how the streets look right now. It's mobbed like crazy.
Okay, the back right, Alex.
Pedro, Alex Spear with the Boston Globe. You obviously had numbers that could compare with any season that's occurred since at the peak in Boston. Have you thought at all about what kinds of numbers you would be able to put up today, in this era of baseball when run scoring is obviously very different than it was when you were pitching?
I can only imagine, just like Dominican Republic is right now. I can only imagine from here. But, I'm happy with what I had today, with what I went into the Hall of Fame today. It will be interesting to probably have the opportunity to compete, on a level ground field. But it's impossible. I'm gone from the game now. Let's see what Kershaw is going to continue to do, and those guys that are actually Bumgarner, all those guys that are taking a hold of the game and now in a level ground field. I'm excited to see what it's going to develop into. Pretty soon they're probably going to say, let's lower the mound. I hope not. I hope they keep it the same way to see what would have been probably when at the end of the day one of those guys goes away from the game. What could have probably been for me by watching Kershaw or Bumgarner, someone like that. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Sandy Koufax was able to do back in those days and Kershaw these days. Let's see what happens. And it's all we can do, dream about it. But what I've done is done, and I'm happy with it.
Okay, Steve, right in the middle.
Pedro, Steve Burton with Channel 4.
Steve!
How you doing, man?
Another old goat.
Let me ask you this, looking back over your Hall of Fame career, especially with the Red Sox, what was your highest point here and what was your lowest point here?
My highest point here was every game I got. Took it with the same intensity, took it with the same pride, took it every day, and I enjoyed it. Every game I pitched here, and I was telling someone, I don't know if it was MLB Network, I said every time I pitch a game in Fenway Park was a sold out. I was probably one unique person that could say I played for the Red Sox and every single game was sold out. From the moment I started to the moment I left was all sold out. My last game here was sold out. My first game here was sold out. And the middle games sold out. I'm one person that could probably have the privilege to say I had it all. So every one of them was equally as important. Moments that I can say I'm relieved from Boston, handing out the trophy in 2004. The 99 All-Star game, having Ted Williams bring me into the suite and personalize a program for me and tell me the things he said to me. I could say now, I'm relieved. and Boston is as much a, part of the Hall of Fame to me like I am to them. So this goes to them too, and every moment that I can share with Boston is special.
Lowest point?
Lowest point was probably having to leave Boston. Having to go away from Boston. Because probably lack of communication. Not because of lack of love or interest from either side. It's just lack of communication, which could happen. Could happen sometimes. Misjudging, maybe. But that's over with. This is the moment where Boston can feel proud. I'm proud. I feel like I belong here too. I have a lot of love for everything in Boston and a lot of respect.
Okay, just a couple more, starting with Steve on the left.
Steve Buckley again, Boston Herald. Pedro, you've been fairly demonstrative today on having done it clean. You said that several times. What are your thoughts on players who have been linked to performance-enhancing drugs, and should they be given consideration for the Hall of Fame?
That's a tough question, because I don't vote. You guys were the ones that dealt with it. You guys are the ones that probably bring out the truth of it. I can tell you my personal feeling. My personal feeling is that I am sad for everyone that should be in there, and it's not. Everyone that probably earned it, and it's not because of taking the short path. Right now, what I'm going to do is suck this moment in, enjoy it with everyone. I have already dedicated it to everyone that played the game for at least one day in the big leagues or minor leagues. This is not something about who did what. I'm not interested in picking out who did what. I just know I'm part of baseball. I'm part of the Hall of Fame. I'm part of the tradition here in Boston. I'm part of the fans. I'm part of everything in baseball. And I just want to leave it at that and kind of enjoy the moment with everyone that could probably appreciate what I did. And on behalf of the players, I want to just lay it out there. It's for all of us. It's for all of us, and there's nothing else, Steve. It's nothing else.
Okay, last one over here on the left.
Hola, Fenelí Morales, Noticia Univisión, Nueva Inglaterra.
Mucho gusto.
Pedro, ¿cuál fue la primera persona que pensaste cuando recibiste la noticia y cómo te sientes ser el segundo dominicano en ir al Salón de la Fama?
La primera persona que pude pensar fue mi madre. La primera persona, aunque tenía a mi esposa muy de cerca, fue mi madre la persona en la que pude pensar primero, y también mi padre. Aunque no está ya más con nosotros, ellos son la base de lo que yo soy hoy, y al mismo tiempo quise darle gracias a Dios junto con mi familia. Antes de hacer cualquier cosa, simplemente darle gracias a Dios con mi familia, amigos, a gente. Al mismo tiempo, hacer una pequeña cadena de oración para que a Dios le llegue primero, que nosotros tenemos gracia y que tenemos el respeto por lo que Él ha hecho con nosotros. Pero definitivamente mi mamá, que está viva, y mi papá, que ya no está, pero que está en mejor vida, fueron las dos personas que primero cruzaron mi mente. Aunque mis hijos y mi familia, todos pasan, esos son los dos primeros que pasan.
Y como dominicano, en ser el segundo en el Salón de la Fama.
Me siento más que orgulloso, humildemente acepto el entrar al Salón de la Fama, se lo dedico a todo aquel que de una manera u otra admira lo que hacemos. Me siento más que orgulloso de ser el segundo, espero no tener que pasar mucho tiempo en ser el segundo y nada más. Espero que llegue el tercero, cuarto, quinto, sexto, que lleguen todos muy pronto y que ojalá y que cuando me vean a mí se motiven un poquito más.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll begin some one-on-ones with Pedro over here on my right. Thank you.
And there it is. Pedro Martinez speaks for the first time since making it official. He will now be in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, garnering 91.1% of the vote amongst some of the gems from that press conference. He says he was relieved and at peace with the election. He says he did it the clean way in a time where PEDs were rampant, and that's what makes him most proud, that he was able to dominate with those odds stacked against him. If you missed any of this presser, no worries. We've got